макияж? Ты мне что сказала? Что косметика мне уже не поможет. Так что и от меня помощи больше не жди.
Ген, ты мне сочинение по природоведению напишешь? Бабочки в период зимней спячки.
Интересная тема, но сейчас не могу.
Геночка, ну пожалуйста. Ой.
Ну что за привычка отвлекать ученого от научной работы? Ну зачем вести себя как динозавр?
Сам ты динозавр, а я, может, и получу
I've always wanted to poke around in here. There we go!
All sweeping.
Get ready. Bouncing off. Here we go. Something else. That's the last of them. Where are we headed? The control room should be off to the right. I hope we're doing the right thing.
Unexpected door sweeping the area.
Look out!
Damn it.
Clever. Here we go. That's the last of them. Here we go. Don't mess with us. Incoming. Nice one.
Self-diagnostics complete. Navigation systems operational. Combat systems operational. It's not the best choice. It's the spacer's choice. Hostile actions towards spacer's choice mechanics are contrary to logical directive. Conclusion: all hostile automechanicals must be defective in compliance with spacer's choice policy. All defective automechanicals must be permanently dismantled. Please allow me to assist. Affirmative. Mechanicide protocols loaded. Awaiting confirmation.
away, Phantom! No, 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 just leave me alone! You're not real. You're not real. Get away! Get away! You're not real. You're not real. Go away, Phantom! Go away, Phantom! You're not real. You're not real. You're not real. You're not real. Go away, Phantom! No, 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 just leave me alone! No, 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 just leave me alone! You're not real! You're not real! Get away from me, Phantom! Shoot! Scram! You can talk? The Phantom's never talked before. I knew I shouldn't have eaten that sprat raw. See? See, Higgins? This is why you must always boil your sprats before ingesting. Of course. Do excuse me. I experience brief flashes of mania during which I am visited by the phantoms of my imagination. Chester D. Higgins. The D stands for definitely not insane. I use it as a reminder. Oh, Higgins has been many things over the years. Sprat Wrangler, Saltuna Critic, Aetherwave Personality, Chairman of the Board, Galactic Defender, Sisty Pig Tycoon. I've come a long way for someone who started off as a simple engineer right here in this plant. Jimmy'd opened the vending machines. That lasted a good couple of months. Eventually, I had to resort to more unconventional means of filling my insides. Mechanicals lost their bolts. Opened fire on anything that moved. It was pandemonium. You mean, why did the Mechanicals go on a murderous rampage? Same reason any of us do, I suppose. The voices told them to do it. I was on cleaning duty at the time. My old boss had me scrubbing pipes when the killing started. So, as usual, I missed out. I specialized in automechanicals, drones, sentries, repaired them, maintained, upgraded, did it all from my old workroom just over in the next section. Look, I don't want to fall into any trouble with the Mechanicals. If they wise up to our plans, they will come for us. With prodding irons. You know, you remind me of myself back when I was an intergalactic adventurer. I discovered a flaw. Their hostility levels were hardwired to maximum. There's no changing that, but you could rewrite their targeting protocol so they attack each other instead. Yes, that's exactly it. I see you're also versed in the noble art of mechanical engineering. There's a behavior control terminal in the other room. It should have options to change how the Mechanicals act, including whom they shoot at. Oh, that reminds me. You'll need my passcode to access the behavior control terminal. Here, let me just write it down for you. Funny thing, I was working on a logic module just before the mayhem started. Security chief found me and confiscated the logic module. The tail. Definitely start with the tail. Mechanicals lost their bolts. Opened fire on... I was on cleaning duty at the time. My old...
Mind the steam. You're liable to get scalded.
Processing.
All together. Down they go! Don't mess with us.
System alert. Security patrol initiated.
Now begins.
Investigating.
Incoming! That's the last of them. Blast. Once we do this... Hey, mister? Look, I know you want your power regulator and all, but I just gotta ask you. Do you understand what you're about to do? I don't think you should cut off Edgewater's power. I think it would be cruel. I'm sorry. That just sort of came out all at once. Edgewater's hurting. We've been losing workers year after year, and corporate hardly ever sends replacements. There's barely enough Saltuna to fill our bellies anymore. But the town's got some good people in it. Decent, hard-working folk just living their lives the only way they know how. They don't deserve to be punished. Miss McDevitt's built something beautiful. Somehow, she's talked the ground into giving life again. It's plain to see she's made the Vale a better place. Fed the hungry, tended the sick. Gave a home to those that had none. But Miss McDevitt delights in Edgewater's suffering. She wants to hurt the town. Do you really want to be party to that kind of hatred? Well, that sure sounds like Mr. Thompson. If he was standing here, I imagine he'd remind us of how we're all one big, happy Spacer's Choice family. In Mr. Thompson's eyes, those deserters are still part of the Spacer's Choice family. The family must work together in order to survive. I hate to say it, but I think Mr. Thompson's got a point. Unless those deserters come back, Edgewater's as good as dead. Cutting off their power might be the only way. Sorry, I didn't mean to babble on like that. I felt like I had to say something. Really? I mean, wow. Thanks. No one's ever told me those words in that order.
Everybody keeps staring at me. It's not my fault the power's dead. Whoa, Miss Parvati.
Are you, are things safe out here?
Great, just great. I've been trying to keep stuff running, just like you. Only I'm not so... Wait,
Oh gosh, no, I'm just along with this.
I seen you wandering around here. You don't... Never heard it phrased in such a way before. I guess we're all... Sorry, I just wasn't sure if you were from town or if you were... Fact is, I've been, well, lying. To everybody here. Camp thinks I'm a mechanical genius. I'll take all the help I can get. I set my mind to learning the craft of the You ever heard of the Young Spacer's Guide to Mechanical Engineering? Comes in a set of 3.
Those are good. My dad kept a copy with him when he was working in mechanic.
I know the old community center kept a copy. Should find another one back in town. If you could find me even one of those pads. No kidding! Really? Look at that! Building a computing machine out of Spectrum potato. I appreciate... In fact, I put aside something special. On the off chance that somebody... Well, don't keep... The geothermal plant? Now that is just incredible! 2 whole data pads? Be still, my... Sure, I'd be glad to take them off. What's on? Couple months. This camp's my home. People you see milling about, they're my family. I owe them my life. Would have died in the wilderness if they hadn't chanced. We all left the cannery for one reason or another. Me? I was incompetent. I couldn't even survive on my own. Grace found me, Adelaide...
You weren't incompetent. You just didn't fit the cannery. Not like he...
You could stay, you know. Here. I'd be happy to... we could really use...
Keep your wits about you, friend.
I don't know how much longer we'll last.
I don't know how much longer we'll last without power.
Zoe says she fought her way out of a marauder camp with her own bare hands. Nothing. With the power gone?
Keep your wits about you, friend.
Keep your wits...
Keep your wits... I don't know how...
Keep your wits about you, friend.
That's the thing about growing old. Your eyes start to fail. Elsewise, I would have seen you for the snake that you are. This is all you're doing. Cutting off my power, killing off my... I want to ask you this in private, away from the eyes of my flock, so they... You killed my garden, destroyed my community, sentenced my flock to a lifetime of slavery in Edgewater for up. Go talk to Grace and Thomas. Look them in the eye and tell them their life here is over. And you tell Reed Thompson that I will never return to Edgewater. I would rather... My son worked in that cannery. When the plague... We had a store of medicine locked away. But Reed refused to treat him. Said my boy didn't... So I buried my boy in the cemetery, gathered my belongings. You offering to cross Reed off, huh? This some sort of twisted Kill Reed if you must, or talk him into leaving if you can. He and I are not... Tell Reed that I can make his people healthy again. I can end their plague. Start a new garden right in the cannery. Tell him how I've made the Vale bloom again. The soil has whispered its secrets to me, and the secret is human corpses. I've been grinding them up in my fertilizer for years. Marauder, work. I have got a means to cure the plague, and I will not
Any luck finding one of those I've been thinking about going back. I get sick thinking about working at the cannery. You know something? I think you're right. The town could use another engineer, and I could do a lot of good in Edgewater. Maybe even keep a garage of my own with a little... It's just... Adelaide's never gonna forgive me. Not in 100 years. Adelaide hates Edgewater, hates everything Edgewater stands for. We're the nearest she's got to kin. We go back to Edgewater, You know where to find me.
I don't know what you did to talk some sense in... The matter's been... Zoe came back, but I couldn't keep her from slipping out in the... I don't see us lasting more than a couple of weeks out here. I'm loath to admit it. Listen, we go back to Reed, hat in hand, begging for our old jobs back. Well, Edgewater's not just a town to Adelaide. It's a symbol of everything that's wrong with this colony. We're the closest thing Adelaide's got to a family. We go back to Sure.
Look at that.
calm, quiet.
Battery's been running at full capacity all day.
Must be all that extra power.
Town's been humming with power. Somebody must have been down in the old plant. Coming right up. Plague got you feeling? Coming right up.
Never seen the Vale lit up like this before. Bang up work, soldier. You're a credit to your uniform. Oh, that reminds me. Gotta look into getting us... So this is it, then. I would reward you with the gratitude of the Resistance, but I'm guessing you want something tactile. So here's a couple bits for your trouble, and a little something to remember me by.
friend of mine died a couple weeks back.
It's a fine new day in Edgewater. The cannery hums, streetlights and faces glow. I suppose this means the two of you were able to sort out the matter? There's little point in second-guessing now. Take comfort in the fact that your choices are always, ultimately, in line with the grand plan. Wonderful. This is fantastic. Well worth all the sacrifices I... Wait. What the fuck is this? Is this... French? I can't fucking read French. It's a law-forsaken joke is what it is. French! Ha! I was so high and mighty, preaching to the yokels about following the plan, while fighting it at every turn. Well, yes. But I assure you, it was not for personal gain, only for the greater good. I've spent my life searching for the keys to unlocking the secrets of the universal equation that underlies the plan. I had hoped this book held some of those answers. I became so desperate, I even got myself assigned to this plague-ridden backwater to find the damn thing. All the time and suffering I've spent. Wasted. Bakonu, the author, had some interesting theories about man's perception of reality that I thought could be applied to our attempts to decipher the plan. Unfortunately, he was also one of the founders of the Philosophist school of thought, so the book is banned in this colony. Philosophism's a false religion that stands in contradiction to almost everything we know to be true. They believe all is chaos, in stark contrast to OSI's belief in the plan. But most of the philosophist perversion of Bakonu's thoughts came more than a century after his death. Yes, you're right. Such are the workings of the equation. And I've only my own hubris to blame. I certainly never planned for this contingency. But that's neither here nor there. What I need to do now is to find a translator, obviously. But to do that, I'll first need to secure transport. You have a ship. Perhaps I could make myself of use to your crew. Certainly. I already gave you most of my money, but I can offer you free spiritual counseling, and I'd be happy to watch your back. I'm pretty handy with a tossball stick, or any blunt instrument, really. I'm also a passable gun hand, if it comes to that. I can usually talk my way out of conflict, though. Oh, I'm fairly competent at hacking computers as well. Fantastic. I promise you won't regret this.
Edgewater's gonna miss you. Folk here always had good things to say about their vicar.
Thank you, Ms. Holcomb. I'll be glad for the change of scenery, and to leave this place behind. It is my esteemed pleasure to serve as your crew vicar, Captain. I find myself marveling at something... Nothing too out of the ordinary. Just your run-of-the-mill vicar. That's what I grew up in a pit of a town, much like Edgewater. I was destined to be a laborer like my parents, but I was infected early with a need to solve the equation. My parents, ironically.
They internalized the precepts of scientism like no one I've ever known. They had a pure faith, a faith that brought joy to them. I envied that. I wanted that peace. I thought if I became a vicar, I could... They thought I was fighting the plan, should have accepted my lot. Some people pursue the clergy for power. The simple version is this. The force which we call the Grand Architect created the universal equation that underlies and everything flows from the equation, or in layman's terms, the grand plan. Is the Grand Architect a consciousness? A natural force? Did it create... The answers to these questions don't really matter. The equation, the plan, is all that matters. The plan is not one rigid path. There are a variety of multitudes contained within it. Our paths have variance, but we'll end up... Some choices make the path smoother, some rougher. You can even go outside the lines, but the further outside you go, it's like an unbreakable elastic band. It will only stretch so far before it snaps back. The further... I have run headlong into too many walls in my pursuit of the truth. This book is my... I honestly don't know what I'd do. This quest has consumed me for the better part... What about you? And how did he do... Well, you do seem different than every other colonist. Let's pretend for... That seems a dangerous proposition. Why risk... A commendable attitude. Bakonu, the author, had some interesting theories about man's perception of reality. Unfortunately, he was also... I've been thinking on that. There's a former infamous philosopher scholar who fled Terra 2 some years ago. He's also who told me of the journal's presence in Emerald Vale. If anyone in this colony could translate... That's a good question. We should start on the Groundbreaker. It's where I'd go if I wanted to get off Terra 2. Great place to pick up a ride to Hephaestus. All I need is access to a data cartridge from the security terminal. Their easily hackable system keeps a registry of all crew manifests for both arrivals and departures. I'll comb the last 6 months of departure manifests to track the philosophy. Before I transferred to Edgewater, I had a wealth of time to develop certain, secular skills during my youth. I meditated, led sermons, provided guidance to the inmates as needed, of course. I also played prison yard... Thank you, Captain.
This is a fine day, friend. Power flows through our town like a cool stream of water. I trust Adelaide's people have seen their way to reason. So, when can I expect them back at their posts? Then we are at an impasse. Stewardship over this town has been entrusted to me by Spacer's Choice. I am not perfect. I have made my share of mistakes, but I have done my best for this town. Her son got sick with plague a couple years back. Company never gave us enough medication to treat the whole town. So I had to choose, you see. Adelaide's child or someone else's. She's never forgiven me. I don't expect she ever will. I have been holding this town together with both hands. You can't just expect me to leave. I'm a Spacer's Choice man. My father was a Spacer's Choice man. Edgewater may not look like much to some buttoned-up freelancer, but it is my home. I don't believe you. Plague's a reality of life. Best treatment is a good work ethic. You are disparaging our parent company, and it is not appreciated. We are a Spacer's Choice Saltuna cannery. We eat Saltuna here, and only Saltuna. Processed, liquefied, retextured Saltuna rendered in a chemical bath, of course. Well, mostly Saltuna. We've been experiencing a Saltuna shortage, you see. So we've had to improvise. We've added wood chips, some mushrooms, bit of sand, tossed some canid bits in our processor once. It all tastes like Saltuna in the end. Couple years, give or take, right around the time the first wave of plagues hit the town. Now listen, I do not know what pretty rhetoric Adelaide has fed you, but plagues are a simple fact of life. You'll excuse me for being skeptical. How exactly is Adelaide growing crops in barren soil? And when you say special fertilizer, you mean what exactly? Adelaide has been using dead bodies in her fertilizer? That's, come to think of it, that's a stroke of brilliance. What a remarkably efficient solution. Recycling Spacer's Choice property long after its date of expiration. I was wondering about those missing bodies in Silas's cemetery. So Adelaide wants me gone. Trade my life for the life of the town. You understand what she's doing. If I leave town, I'm as good as dead. If I stay, Edgewater will die of attrition. Adelaide has discovered some secret cure for the plague, and she is holding my town ransom. You were always my wisest counsel, Vicar. I could turn to you in times of doubt.
Your stewardship of Edgewater has run its course, Reed. You don't need scripture to tell you that.
You're right. I am being obstinate. If the best thing I can do for this town is to stand down, then stand down I shall. My life here is ended. Give me a little time to settle my affairs. I'm sure Adelaide will be glad to see the back of me. A couple months ago, I might have put in for a transfer. It's a big colony. Spacer's Choice has other towns. Now, I couldn't show my face in any of them. I have always tried to do right by my town. It has never been easy.
Handled beautifully.
We've got a fight on our hands.
That's the last of them.
Home is where the heart is. Marauders took that saying a little too literally.
Hope Adelaide's okay. Any luck finding one of those manuals? No kidding! Ain't that just ironical? If I'd worked a little longer back at the cannery, that's a complete set. All, aside from you.
I'm glad we could help, Thomas.
Look at that. The snake's come back. I never thought I'd see the day that Reed Thompson abandoned his post. Suppose we all have a breaking point. Suppose it's time our flock made our way back to Edgewater. We must tend to what remains of the town and carry on with our lives as best we may. You're vexing to me, you know? Injuring us with one hand, helping us with the other. Here, I'm giving you something to leave us be. It's a ransom, you understand, not a reward. You telling me you did all this just to put me in charge of Edgewater? Stranger, you are some kind of twisted. I might turn that old cannery into a garden. Got ourselves a whole cemetery bursting with bodies. I need some time to gather my personals. Long walk back to Edgewater. Got a considerable burden to carry.
Is this your ship? Oh my stars, she is just so handsome! Does she have a name yet? What's her drive model? Oh, gosh. Listen to me babbling. When I was in Edgewater, I dreamed of flying on a real ship. Working on a real engine. Belonging to a proper crew. I'm the only decent mechanic Edgewater's got, but every time I think of going back, I get this sinking feeling. Well, it's kind of you to say that. And you're right. I wasn't happy. I want to ask you something, and you can say no. But can I come with you? I could tend to your engine. I know my G-valves from my catalyzers, and I can keep your ship singing. And if you ever need a pair of eyes watching your back, I can do that too. What do you think? Yes! I mean, thanks. You won't regret this, mister. Captain. I can call you Captain now. Ha! I got a captain. Nice.
Captain, I have detected that Edgewater's power supply is now optimal. I applaud your willingness to invest your time in the local community. What can I do for you, Captain? All systems are operating within acceptable parameters. I am prepared to bring the unreliable into low-altitude orbit. This should prove an adequate test of our flight capabilities. We have received a communication request from Dr. Phineas Wells.
Aha, there you are. Hale and hearty, and captain of your own ship. I see you're putting the unreliable to good use. Shame about her former captain. Horrible way to die. How are you feeling, by the way? I lost track of you in that cave back there. Experiencing any, unnatural drippage? Perfectly normal side effect of thawing, I assure you. Oh, that, yes, that's probably permanent. I wouldn't worry about it, though. I'm sure you're fine. What you saw in Emerald Vale is happening all across the colony. Food shortages, lack of supplies, and basic necessities. We're dying. The chairman, the minister, and all their lackeys on the board are to blame. The Hope has some of the brightest minds Earth ever sent us. If we can revive the Hope's colonists, they can help us undo the board's mistakes. They can help us set things right. You need to get to Stellar Bay on Monarch. I have contacts there. They'll help me, help us, find the chemicals to revive your fellow colonists. Gladys Kelly, lovely woman, runs a cozy little black marketing outfit on the Groundbreaker. She can get you a nav key to land on Stellar Bay. Strictly speaking, Monarch is a moon, terraformed badly, and almost completely lawless. You'll love it. Captains don't fly their own ships, you see. Your navigation terminal handles the, navigation. Think of a nav key as a set of flight instructions. The board's been confiscating nav keys for Stellar Bay, so we must rely on unconventional means of acquisition. Hence, Miss Gladys Kelly. In theory, I suppose you could land your ship in Cascadia, and in theory, I suppose you might survive the experience. Cascadia is utterly seething with dangerous, highly aggressive creatures, more than capable of tearing you limb from limb. You'd have to be a lunatic to land in Cascadia, and I'm reasonably certain I tested your brain for incipient signs of insanity. Trust me, talk to Gladys Kelly. Without a skip drive, good luck. You'll be dead before you make it to the nearest star. Look, I admire your optimism, but the sad truth is you're stuck here. You, me, and the rest of this colony. We're all skating precariously around the edge of oblivion together. None of us are leaving Halcyon alive, so we may as well make it a better place, and we can start by reviving the Hope. Gladys and I have been doing business for years. Her smuggling credentials are unimpeachable. If anyone can get you a key to Monarch, it's her. Excellent. I'll send her a wireless. Let her know you're coming. By the way, I gave Captain Hawthorne a disguise apparatus of my own design, cutting-edge technology years ahead of its time. I call it the Holographic Shroud. I'm sure it will prove remarkably useful to you. You'll find it in the captain's quarters. Excellent. I'll contact you once you've found a way to get to Stellar Bay. If you have any questions, come see me in my lab. And remember, don't trust the board. They'll try to win you over with promises of wealth and power, but it's a lie. The board's only interested in filling their own pockets. If we don't put a stop to them, they're going to run this colony to the ground.
Transmission ended. If you are ready to depart, please select a destination on your navigation terminal.
Yeah, so I was looking for a place that was quiet. I figured the kitchen would be louder. Cozy-like, ain't it? That's in pretty good shape considering how hard Mr. Hawthorne ran it. It's a Yakita LHA 120. The Block 2 design scooshed in extra cargo space but didn't change the stock engines.
Accurate in all particulars. I conclude you are...
Fly-by-wire's pretty normal. Or leastways, that's what I read in the Hello! I am not a board-certified mechanic, but...
Speech recognition is one of the many skills I have been...
You're not simulating it, you're doing it! I asked a...
I am gratified you consider this facsimile. I am at your disposal, Ms. Parvati. You will find the technical schematics in the engineer's locker, though I'm afraid...
I don't see any holes in the hull. I'll take a good squint at her, make sure everything's tip-top. But I think we're cooking... You can do that, you know. My dad taught me how to make grilled cheese sandwich. Mostly, yeah. I lived in the maintenance office near all my life. I'm not exactly a model employee. Not like you wanted. The kind that stays... It's not normal for anyone to do as their parents. You take a vocational test. When I tested out for maintenance, everyone figured it was on account of my dad. Well, I'm good at making things work the way they ought. Not so much at doing such to somebody else. There's times I'm working deep in the guts of a loader, getting it all running perfect. Then I look up to see it's tomorrow, and I've blown another deadline. Anyhow, I was happy to get back home. I didn't care. Yep, nothing much had changed. Everything was a little grayer, a little dirtier. Dad met me at the shop. I noticed straight away that he was moving slower. And stiffer. About a year. I tried to do more of the work, so he could rest. Dad never said that he loved me, you know? I knew on account of him showing it. How he'd stay up late to help with my projects, or listen to my fretting. Oh gosh. Look at the time. Sorry to bend your ear so long. And I got so...